Khabib buys GFC for $1 million. GFC is, I believe, was called Guerrilla Fighting Championship. It's an MMA organization out of Dagestan, the region that Khabib's from. He named it actually Eagle Fighting Championship, so he changed it from one animal to another to
Hey, but quick
to
side
mark
note,
his.
he also has a Gorilla energy drink. So I guess he's also changing that too, or no?
I don't
Or
know if
he's
he owns Gorilla Energy Drink. I think he owns GFC now, and then he changed the name. So if he plans to buy Gorilla Energy Drink or he owns it, why not? But he's bought it. And last event was October 16th. They have two more shows set for December 4th and December 19th for this 2020 calendar year. Details are expected to be announced involving Khabib and the organization on December 2nd, 2020, in a press conference in Moscow. There's talks about the organization teaming up with UFC and broadcasting their fights and their events on the UFC Fight Pass. So very similar to like other organizations, other like jiu-jitsu programs and stuff like that that use the UFC Fight Pass as their platform,
yeah.
or other Invicta is shown on there, the women's fighting organization.
Yeah.
This is very interesting. UFC has been trying to get into these countries like Russia, has been trying to get into China, has been trying to get into these countries that have a long lineage of martial artists,
Yeah.
but haven't necessarily put in all the resources to have a MMA foundation into the country. So now we're starting to see fighters come out of Russia and actually have a huge impact in the UFC. We didn't really see this back in 5 to 10 years ago. Actually, maybe 5 years ago, but a little bit further back than that. You would see Russian fighters here and there, but a lot of times those Russian fighters would relocate into the United States, and then from there they would develop and fight. But
Hey, but
you
good
didn't
on
really,
you know.
yeah.
Good on Khabib though. You know he bought this. He also, if you recently heard, he actually opened up a phone company, as in like with his own
The
SIM card.
telecom communication.
Yeah, he did
Oh, wow.
that. He
Yeah.
enrolled in university. You know, he's doing a lot in his post
Yeah,
UFC
so
career.
he's putting his money to use and putting it into his homeland, which is always
Great.
good.
Yeah.
I think he sees the potential and he sees the talent and the people that are in his region and in Russia that could come over into the UFC or any of the MMA organizations and display all of their skills and their talents.
Here's a question for you though. Do you think you know how his father Abdul Manap, he used to
Mm-hmm.
coach at the Eagles gym? Do you think he took
Mm-hmm.
over or no?
I think right now he's still in the U.S., right? But I could see Khabib taking over that gym and just continuing that legacy for his father and for that region, because he has a major influence in that region.
Yeah.
I think one of the big things, the big steps, is him buying the GFC and renaming it the Eagle Fighting Championship. Before, you wouldn't see fighters, that many good fighters from Russia come out, because they focus on the other Olympic sports. So there's hockey, there's sambo,
Freestyle wrestling.
there's freestyle wrestling. You didn't really see much of MMA, but now you see likes of Zabit, you see Khabib, you see Islam, you see Umair, you see, the list goes on, right? You see other people from Russia as well, like Peter Yan, right? So there's a huge potential for that region. UFC has always wanted to get into these countries because there's so much talent, there's so much history. These guys know how to fight. It's just they don't necessarily fight in the MMA style or even interested in MMA because they haven't grown up. Sorry?
Yeah, like you're saying with Russia, also like a country like Iran, you know, they have a
Yeah.
lot of good fighters there too.
Yeah, Iran is very focused on wrestling, so they have a
Wrestling, yeah.
rich history in wrestling. So I think Russia is primed to have something like this develop, and Khabib is probably like the best figure that you could have leading this charge of of Russians in the UFC and the MMA, and definitely in the next 5 to 10 years you'll be seeing these kids that are 18, 19 years old that are monsters coming out of there,
Yeah.
where they can
And the next
wrestle,
step
they
will
can
be
strike, they can do jiu-jitsu or sambo. They just have a complete game, and you'll see at one point in the early 2000s, in mid 2000s, sorry, like 2010s and stuff, you saw
yeah.
a huge wave of Brazilian fighters as champions. So you had Aldo, you had Anderson Silva, you had Shogun, you had all
Well, they
these
even
these.
had their own Ultimate Fighter, right? So
Yeah, definitely. They had their own Ultimate Fighter as well. So I can really see Russia having the same resurgence. China is kind of different. China um, is very slow right now. They really only have Wei Li as a presence in the UFC and MMA in like a large scale, and she's the flyweight champion. I can't remember, but
I think bantamweight.
she's bantamweight. Yeah, so she's the biggest figure there. They might take a little bit longer, but Russia is ready to
But
take over.
this whole Russian wave was inevitable because even if you look at boxing too, it's all being conquered by Eastern Europeans, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
I guess the next step is for Afghanistan, but we'll talk about that later.
We'll see about that.